Good afternoon, and we're talking about the differences between the church and the nation of Yasharel. In our last session, I brought up the fact is that in creating his assembly, the Messiah stated in Matthew chapter 16 that he was going to build his church or his assembly upon the revelation of who he was. And so before the Messiah paid the price for our sins, there were two groups of people that Yahuwah was dealing with. There was the Gentiles and the nation of Yasharel. Of course, the nation of Yasharel having a covenant with Yahuwah, salvation came first to the Jews and then to the Gentiles. And it came after the Messiah paid the price for the redemption of mankind, and that the Spirit was poured out on the day of Shavuot or Pentecost, and you'll read about this in Acts chapter 2, that the Spirit was poured out upon the true believers. And of course, all the believers at that time, at the beginning of the church, were all Jews or Yahudim. But once a Jew, as I mentioned in our past session, once a Jew or Yahudi puts his faith and trust in the Messiah and recognizes who he is, that he is Yahuwah, manifest in the flesh, once he does that, and he is no longer considered a Jew in the eyes of Yahuwah, he is considered a part of the church. In the same manner, when a Gentile puts his faith and trust in the Messiah, Jewish Messiah, he also becomes a member of the church, and Yahuwah no longer sees him as a Gentile. As I mentioned, there's three groups of people now upon the earth. There's Jew, Gentile, and the church. The church is about to be taken away in the rapture before the 7-year period of Daniel's 70th week occurs. And the reason that the church is going to be taken out is for a number of reasons. One is, the fact is that the church age will end at the time of the rapture. Yahuwah will again focus all his attention upon the nation of Yasharel, Israel, and he will fulfill the last 7 years that is still left to be fulfilled. And you'll find about this in Daniel's prophecy in Daniel chapter 9, and that Yahuwah still has these 7 years left to fulfill certain promises to the nation of Yasharel. During that time frame, he will bring them through the time of Jacob's trouble, or Israel's trouble, a time frame that not only affects all the nation of Yasharel, but it also will affect all the believers or unbelievers on the earth at the same time. Now, there will be many people saved during this time frame of the tribulation and of Daniel's 70th week, but it's going to be a hard time frame. It's going to be very hard for a lot of people. In fact, most people will have to give up their life for their witness of for their salvation. But there again, the point of bringing all this out is to help you and I to understand that there's different destinies for these groups of people. That's why there's so much confusion about the rapture, is because people see that there's going to be people or believers that will be living during the tribulation, and they assume that this is a church. No, the church will end at the rapture, and all people who are saved during the tribulation or Daniel's 70th week will either be Jewish believers or Gentiles who have come to salvation during that time frame, but neither of these groups at that time will be part of the church. You're only part of the church until the rapture takes place, and because there's going to be a marriage in heaven before the return of the Messiah, and so you have to be there to participate in that wedding. Excuse me. I'm going to pick this up on our next session, so please continue to join in. Thank you for your support and your encouragement, and please share this with others. Until then, shalom.